Sri Rangasayee Ramakrishna ji.
Sir, I rise to support this bill since it aims to bridge a fundamental gap in our society in the direction of what might be succinctly expressed. What did he say?
Please, please start speaking, no problem. I can hear.
In the direction of what might be succinctly expressed as Bachpan Bachao. With the various amendments moved by the Honorable Labour Minister to the 2012 version of this bill is a step in the right direction since it harmonizes the seemingly conflicting objectives of the Right to Education Act, the objectives of the Skill India mission, and the dire need to preserve and enrich the paramparagat generational continuity in arts and crafts that constitute the idea of India. I shall commence with the theme of Bachpan Bachao. When we grow older, the first sign of aging dawns on us with impaired cognitive faculties and slow but steady progress of impaired memory. But it is a wonderful gift of God that while the memory of our recent past fades, the events in our distant past get etched with clarity in our memory. The glorious years of carefree childhood, with all the attendant fun, frolic, idiocy, and madness, comfort us, insulating us from the rigors of aging. As Tom Stoppard says, if you carry your childhood with you, you never become older. But let us introspect in the plight of those millions of children who never had a bachpan, who never had a childhood, mainly because of poverty. While I was studying this bill, I was filled with wonderment how we have been chasing shadows ceaselessly in our march since 1950, when we gave to ourselves the Constitution of India, particularly the Part 4 on Directive Principles State Policy. Had we brought the right to education immediately after 1950, we need not have chased the shadows of adult literacy. By now, the entire nation would have become literate. Had we paid heed to Article 39, which cautions the state against the abuse of tender age of children and the need for protecting childhood and youth against exploitation and moral and material abandonment, we would have abolished child labor and educated all our society. And of course, there is Article 44, which talks of Uniform Civil Code, which is still being debated. Coming to the bill, this is the first serious attempt to protect childhood. Instead of specific enumeration of occupations or processes in the prohibited list, the present amendment prohibits the employment of children altogether in all occupations and processes, save those categories mentioned in section 3(2)(a) and B, both of which ensure that the exemption will be applicable only after school hours and school vacations. In this manner, this bill paves the way for the effective implementation of the Right to Education Act. The present bill also creates a new category of adolescents, aged 14 to 18 years, and prohibits their employment in hazardous occupations and processes specified in the schedule, which can be modified only by the central government under its rule-making powers. While the present bill is in the direction of giving teeth to the right implementation of the RTE Act, I would draw the kind attention of the Honorable Minister to a small slip between the cup and the lip. While the aim of the RTA Act is to provide elementary education to all irrespective of age, the current bill seems to allow adolescents, 14 to 18 years, to be employed even if they have not completed elementary education. It seems advisable to make child labor permissible to adolescents only if they have completed elementary education. There is an apprehension that the exemption proposed in section 3(2)(a) and B may open the floodgates for continuance of child labor. This is not so. There is an objective behind this section, which is to preserve and continue the paramparagat occupations and skills which have been passed on from one generation to another in arts and crafts like handlooms and handicrafts, temple architecture, etc., which really constitute the idea of India. If this safeguard is not there, there is a danger of this legislation de-skilling India and then compelling us to search avenues for reskilling. I would say that only in post-independence India, we seem to have played havoc with a school curriculum, ignoring the need for imparting skills in the primary and middle school level. I recall that during my childhood schooling in a district board school in a place called Pattukottai in Tamil Nadu, during the last days of British Raj, I had to learn carpentry as part of the curriculum. The aroma of fresh wood shavings in the craft lab of the school is still lingering in my nostrils. I have some reservations on the wholesale exemption to entertainment industry. Working for a few hours outside the school hours for audiovisual advertisements is one thing, but it is altogether a different ball game to engage children in mega serials like Bal Hanuman and Bal Ganesh, which run for years and years, during which period the child completely forfeits its entire childhood. I would suggest that the Ministries of I&B and Women and Child Development, together with the Labour Ministry, constitute a joint committee to work out guidelines for such occupations. To conclude, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. This bill entirely depends on the state governments to make it succeed or fail. Implementation is not necessarily achieved only in prescribing punishments. The focus of this bill is intrinsically linked with the focus of RTA, right to education. I would hence suggest that the neighborhood school is the right place for ensuring that this legislation works. Close monitoring of attendance in these schools should be the preferred route for making this legislation succeed. The 1986 Act was successful to some extent in curbing child labor in the organized sector. The prevalence of child labor in the pyrotechnic factories of Shivakasi in Tamil Nadu, which is my home state, and the luxury carpet weaving centers in UP and Rajasthan, which used to be my karma bhumi, which employed mainly infant labor, the nimbler the fingers, the higher the knots, are broadly the spectra of the past. But the evil has now spread to the unorganized sector. It is my earnest hope that this legislation we are considering will altogether eliminate child labor and restore childhood to its rightful place. Kofi Annan said, "There is no trust more sacred than the one the world holds with children." And it is this trust in Bachpan Bachao which we honor through this historic testament enshrined in this bill. With these words, I support this bill.
Thank you, Sri Ramakrishna ji. Thank you very much.